What is up, you guys? This is Jan from the comment section, and today we have a very special video. We are doing Do It Yourself Bounce House Edition, and in this video, we are going to be installing our very first bounce house in our backyard. Okay, so first, you want to clear your yard out or find an area in the yard where you can place your bounce house and clear it out and clean it up, and make sure that you mow the grass very, very nicely and as low as you can get it, so that you can have an even surface to lay your bounce house on. You don't want it on any hills, you don't want it on any dips, you want it on all even flat land, grass or concrete. Please go through the area and go through the grass and make sure that there is no debris in the yard, there's no nails in the yard, anything that could poke a hole in the bounce house. We want to remove those things from the area and clear it out and make sure that it is a nice flat area that is big enough for the bounce house to comfortably sit, and probably to have a clear area around it, just in case children are running around it, and also for wires and stuff like that. We don't want to have any kind of high grass or debris near the bounce house. My yard is a hot mess because my husband has a billion things going on. So if your yard is like that, don't feel bad, okay? You are not alone. Just make sure that you clear out an area for your bounce house and make it as clean as possible and pick up all of the debris. And before you put the bounce house down, you need to put a tarp down. That is so that your bounce house is not on bare grass, just in case you missed anything in the grass, because all it takes is one nail to be, in the wrong place, and the bounce house is getting bounced on, so it's getting pressed down into the grass, and one little nail that you missed can poke it. So you want to put a layer in between the grass or the bare ground and your bounce house. So a tarp is a good thing to use for that as a barrier. So before you start rolling out your bounce house, make sure you have a big enough tarp so that your bounce house can fit all the way on it comfortably, with a little bit more room to lay the motor and everything else in the cords. Okay. And as you see here, we have chosen our spot in the yard. It is flat, even, free of debris and trash. My husband is out of frame, but he is getting the tarp that we're going to put down on the ground as a layer in between our bounce house and the ground, while I am unwrapping the bounce house from the bag that it came in and everything. And our bounce house came with two separate attachments because it is a slide that has a pool, a small little pool at the end of it that you can wade in. So depending on what kind of bounce house you bought. You may have more than one piece to work with, or you may just have one. But just make sure that your tarp is big enough to fit all of your bounce house plus the motor as well, and cords. And before you even put your bounce house on the ground, put the tarp down. Do not unroll the bounce house. Do not unroll the bounce house on the bare ground without the tarp being there. That's the quickest way to get a hole put in your bounce house. And as you can see, our dog Coco is ready to play while we're trying to set up our bounce house. She's so super sweet and cute, and she loves to be the center of attention, as you can see. But anyway, back to the bounce house. So right here we have unraveled everything and rolled the bounce house out onto the grass. And now we are going to get our tarps before we completely unroll the bounce house. So again, like I was saying earlier, you never want to completely unroll your bounce house onto the bare grass. Please get some sort of coverage between the bounce house and the grass. If you absolutely must put it on grass, please make sure that your grass has been combed through thoroughly so that it does not get a hole in it, So as you can see, my husband is bringing the tarps, and we're about to lay them out and put the bounce house right on top of them. While he's doing that, I am examining Coco, because unfortunately our poor baby was hit by a car because we live close to a busy highway, and she was a naughty girl, and she got out of her enclosure and ran out into the street. Luckily she survived, because we thought she was a goner, but luckily she's still here. Okay, and so you can see that my husband is expanding the bounce house. Expanding the tarp that we are going to use to place the bounce house on. And again, you want your tarp to be big enough to cover all of where the bounce house is going to sit on the grass, but also where the cord and the blower will sit. You have to have enough tarp to put all of that on the tarp. That way you do not have to worry about the blower and the cords getting trampled over because kids are running around the bounce house. If you make your parameter big enough for everything to sit comfortably, when the children are running around, they will not trip over the cords and the blower by accident. Okay? So you want to make those as visible as possible. And right here, we're just straightening out and expanding our tarp. Alright, and right here you can see my baby boy, Talib, helping Daddy expand the tarp even more. And they're going to be putting another tarp with that to expand the parameter. And no, this is not your average tarp. This is an advertising tarp, so please ignore that. Sometimes you have to work with what you have. And so on this day, we were definitely working with what we had to make it special. And this was a special bounce house install because it was for my baby boy's 7th birthday. And so it was very special to us that day. And it was very exciting for Ty because he was finally getting to jump on the bounce house and play with the bounce house, play on the bounce house for his birthday. Okay, and so here again we're just expanding and adding our tarp and making our parameter big enough so that our bounce house will sit comfortably with no issues. And so the next step basically is to unroll your bounce house. It's the easiest part. Unroll it the way that it instructs you to, And the best thing to do is to face the entry point in the direction where the kids will have the easiest access to the entrance and exit. Okay, so you want to have the entrance facing the wide open space where the children can run and enter and exit very easily. And once you do that, you simply attach the blower to the bounce house the way that it instructs you to when you buy it, and simply plug it in using extension cords or generators if you have to, and start blowing it up. And for us, we also had to attach our slide to the bounce house once we blew the bounce house up. And so as you can see here, my husband is straightening out the tarp more and attaching the slide to the pool. Unfortunately, my camera cut out on the best part when we were blowing up the actual bounce house, so I do apologize that I do not have that footage of it actually being blown up. But again, as I explained, it is very simple once you get your tarps down. Now my husband is about to take the hose and attach it to the bounce house, and that is where the water will spray out of onto the slide, so that the kids will get wet once they go down the slide and go into the wading. And unfortunately, he about busted his behind trying to install that hose, because he thought it would be a good idea to take his shoes off and try to attach the hose at the same time. And he ended up slipping and falling. So stand by for funny footage. As y'all can see, he was struggling. He was on the struggle bus so hard. But it's just so funny to me. Oh my gosh. So if you are laughing, do not feel bad. We both laughed about it after the fact. And so he's holding on to that bounce house for dear life, trying to get back up because his socks are so slippery. But he finally gets it hooked on, and the hose hooked up to the garden hose. And we eventually were able to get the pool filled up with water and hook the hose up to the hose that's on the bounce house, and it sprays out water as you slide down. So it is a very, very cool bounce house. My children enjoyed it. Every child that comes over enjoys it. They don't want to leave. You know, they just all around have so much fun. And so I hope that this video helps just a little bit
with how to install a bounce house. So overall, as I was saying, make sure that you have a nice clean area for your bounce house. Lay your tarps down, roll out your bounce house onto those tarps, and make sure that you have a big enough tarp to cover a huge perimeter. And if you follow the instructions that come with the bounce house, you should not run into any problems. And also remember to anchor down your bounce house before you let your children, or a mass amount of children, jump on the bounce house. Anchor it down, okay? Because those children, especially if it's a lot of them, they tend to get pretty crazy and they start jumping, pretty crazy in there. And if you don't anchor it down, that's a recipe for disaster. Okay, so make sure that you anchor it down before you allow anyone to get on there, and make sure that everyone that gets on your bounce house does not wear shoes on the bounce house, and that if they have any items in their pockets that need to be removed, especially items like keys and pens and stuff like that, anything that can puncture your bounce house, you want them to remove it. So if they have on spiky shoes, definitely there should be no shoes at all on the bounce house, but especially if they have spiky shoes. No spiky shoes, no spiky belts, no spiky bracelets, or any of that, because that is a recipe for disaster. So make sure that your dress code for the bounce house is strictly enforced. Otherwise, you will, have your bounce house with a hole in no time. Because my bounce house already has a hole in it from one of my dogs. So please listen to me when I say you want to prevent any and everything from touching that bounce house that could possibly make it deflate. It is very fragile. It's very tough, but it's very fragile at the same time. Now I'm going to leave you to watch how my children enjoy the bounce house for my son's 7th birthday. Thank you so much for tuning in and supporting us. Love you guys, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of this video. If you liked this video, please hit the like button. Please share the video. Please comment down below. And most importantly, please subscribe to the channel